Hi, and welcome to CityBeat inside Palo Alto. I'm P.A. Moore.
And I'm Cherie McFadden. On today's show, we'll be visiting Animal Services, the Citizens Police Academy, and the History Corner.
And I'll be talking about some really basic city things like storm drains, graffiti abatement, and transportation. Plus, we'll have our regulars, trash busters, and meet the city council. Do stay with us. Here I am with John Ballard, who's a supervisor in Public Works. John and his crew have an enormous task. They maintain 107 miles of storm drains. John, let's start with something really basic. What is a storm drain?
Storm drains is a catch basin. It's in the curb line that the water flows into, the rainwater flows into. It conveys all the stormwater into the bay.
And so the more streets we have, the more concrete that we have, the more we need storm drains to carry away the water. Is that how it works?
That's exactly how it works. The more asphalt, the more parking lots, the more buildings, the more roof drains, everything goes into the storm drain.
Now, there is a distinction between storm drains and sanitary sewers. Even though they're both underground, they're quite separate.
Absolutely correct. Storm drains and sanitary sewers are two separate systems. They don't interconnect. The water that goes into the storm drain is not treated before it goes to the creeks and to the bay, where sanitary sewer is treated at the treatment plant before it goes into the bay.
And what is the process for you and your crew, which is this enormous task where you have to go through the city and clean out a storm drain? How is that done?
Well, it's done, we can do it by hand, physically with a shovel, pick up the grate and literally remove the debris from the catch basin. Or we do it with a mechanical truck, the vacuum truck that's behind us, depending on how far away the debris is from the catch basin. Sometimes when the catch basin is blocked, the debris pile is way downstream, could be 150 or 300 feet away. So that's when we use the truck to go in and hydro flush or root saw to get the material open, to get the pipeline open so the water will flow.
And fall is a really important time for cleaning out storm drains, I understand, because of all the detritus from the summer.
Fall is the most convenient time for us, basically. We do annual cleaning. We do everything year-round. We don't stop doing any maintenance. Like painting the Golden Gate Bridge, as soon as you get done with one end, you go back and start all over again. So we start in the fall because that's when the heaviest leaf fall is, right? The leaf season starts, and unfortunately it coincides with the rain. So when we get our first rains, when we get the first leaf fall, the heaviest leaf fall occurs at the same time. So we want to make sure all of our catch basins are as clean as they can be right from the beginning.
Okay, let's see how this whole system works, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
John, that looked like a pretty efficient operation. What's the size of your crew?
The storm drain crew are the two people that you saw cleaning those catch basins in the field.
Well, you must have backups when somebody gets sick.
We do. We have other people that are qualified to operate the VACON truck, licensed to drive that truck. And we have staff and operations that fill in during a storm event when we're getting hundreds of phone calls from residents.
Now tell me, what advice would you give to residents about keeping the storm drain clean? Because I saw a lot of leaves in there and a plastic soda bottle. What do we need to make residents aware of?
Well, I think the most important thing is ask residents not to rake their leaves into the street. Have their landscapers pick up the material and recycle their leaves. And if they see bottles in the flow line or any debris, to pick it up. Don't block raccoons from coming out. That's the first thing we respond to in the rain usually is people that put covers over the hoods for raccoon. So those are the things we like residents to be aware of. Don't let the things in the street go into the catch basin.
And where would a person telephone when their storm drain starts backing up?
During normal work days and business hours, 496-6974. After hours, 329-2413. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for being with us today, John, and explaining this wonderful process. We really need to know.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
The City of Palo Alto has won an award from the California State Officer Association, which is a state award for the innovation in budgeting. The reason we have this award is that currently we have been producing our budget in paper documents. These documents are about 800 pages and cost us $35 to produce. In the past, we have actually made 250 copies in a year to offer to our residents and to all the city staff who need to use the budget and turn the pages and find what they're looking for. In the second of our 2-year budget, we produce it again, showing what the actual budget is for the second year. The two books combined here also are about $35 per unit. Our innovation was that we decided that enough people in the city of Palo Alto have computers, and the people that work within City Hall also have computers, and we have placed all of this information onto one single CD-ROM, and to have it silkscreen with the information and have all of the files on here is a total of about $5. We are one of very few cities in California who even produce this award, and that's why we have it for innovation. If you're interested in picking up your CD-ROM to put onto your computer, please call us at the budget office at 329-2260, or you can come straight to City Hall over at Revenue Collections beside me and pick up your copy here.
I'm here with Joe Cott to talk about the latest news in traffic and transportation issues for the city of Palo Alto. Joe, let's start with the big picture. I understand that vehicle use has really changed over the last number of years. There's quite a different trend. What's going on?
Well, I think for the last 20 years, since the energy crisis in 79 and 80, vehicle use nationally and in Palo Alto has arisen. There are a number of reasons for that. Population is totally motorized. There are no significant population groups that don't drive anymore. From 16 to 85 plus. Also, our land uses are more spread out now nationally, and even Palo Alto. People are taking more trips that they would otherwise have taken in the past by walking or possibly by bicycle or transit. They're really using their cars to make. We're a built-out community. It makes it difficult to accommodate rising vehicle use within the constraints of a built-out street system.
And specifically in Palo Alto, the City Council has made traffic calming one of its major priorities the last couple of years. So was there anything specific that led to that particular priority?
Well, there's been an accumulation of effects, I think. There's been a significant amount of regional growth and regional traffic increase, which does impact Palo Alto, since we basically import trips or import employees during the workday. But there's also been an accumulation of development in the community and near the community, and all this has occasioned more traffic. And the council was very interested in improving our traffic management, particularly as it affects residential neighborhoods. Therefore, the traffic calming program was adopted.
And then can you tell me specifically what are some of the measures that Palo Alto has done in the last number of years to attack this challenge that we've got?
A wide range of measures, really. Probably the most noticeable one has been our Palo Alto shuttle, which has been fairly successful. We provide now a projected 150,000 rides a year, a lot of school kids, some commuters, some seniors. Also, we've been developing new bicycle pedestrian facilities, notably our fully designed and funded Homer undercrossing, and alongside that, the Embarcadero Bridge bike path, which will link to it, which will carry cyclists and pedestrians all the way from the south of Forest Avenue neighborhood to Pally, and beyond that to Churchill Avenue, where we have bike lanes. We also have been very active with Caltrain and VTA in working out improvements to regional public transport. We've improved our traffic signal system when and where possible. We have designed and have funded an upgrade to our entire traffic signal system. So we're trying to improve the efficiency of the street system we have and trying to provide incrementally over time additional opportunities for people to use instead of the automobile.
So the message to residents is really to examine their vehicle use and really consider one of these alternate modes of transportation and be part of the solution, I would guess.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, the motor vehicle is a wonderful invention, but like many a thing that's good, it's become too good. So we would definitely encourage all residents and employees within the city of Palo Alto to consider alternative modes of transportation.
Thank you so much, Joe.
We're here at the City of Palo Alto Police Department. We're going to be talking with Susie Jones today about Community Police Academy. Susie, how does this program work?
The Citizens Police Academy is a 12-week course where citizens can sign up and learn about the police department and how we function.
And who is eligible to come into this program?
Anyone who's interested, people who live here, work here, have any connection here can join in.
What will they be learning as part of this academy?
A lot of the classes are just like a real police academy. So they'll learn about patrol procedures, they'll learn about traffic stops, building searches, laws of arrest, so that there's a lot of definition of the laws, court procedures, and evidence collection.
Some of this will be held in a classroom situation. Is there some time that they can actually see something more live?
That's when they come alive. We do a firearms simulator so they understand what it's like to shoot, don't shoot decision-making skills. They do ride-alongs, we do evidence collection and building searches.
So how could an interested person get in touch with this program and enroll?
They can contact me by phone at 650-329-2632 or our webpage.
Thank you very much, Susie.
The graffiti abatement program is very important to keeping Palo Alto clean. With me is Danae Alcacer. Danae, tell me, it must be great to work with a program that keeps the city clean and neat and tidy.
It's really good. Without this program, most of the buildings would get marked up, or the city streets and sidewalks and stuff, and it would lead to other crime, and it would lead to property values going down. I mean, it's not a nice place to live if the graffiti is not taken care of.
So what is the profile of, say, the typical tagger?
A teenager.
Oh.
They want to get as many marks out there so that they have recognition from friends and other taggers, and the more that they have, the more that they win.
Then tell me, how does the abatement program work? I guess we call into the hotline and then what?
They call into the hotline and then we do a work order, and then a field crew operator is dispatched out to remove the graffiti within 24 hours if it's offensive language, 5 days if it's just a typical tag. And this person would go around and see other tags themselves and remove it as well.
Now tell me, I'd like to keep my neighborhood clean, so how would I as a volunteer work? Do you have room for people like me?
We have plenty of room. We would need just you to give us a call on our hotline number. We provide all the supplies and some of the training, and then you keep your neighborhood clean, or even if it's a place that you walk your dog or a certain route you want to take, it's up to you.
Well, that sounds like a really good thing for a person to volunteer. And now tell us again what that hotline number is.
The hotline number is 496-5904.
Thanks so much.
We're here with Steve Steiger to talk about Eichler Homes in the city of Palo Alto. Steve, I was surprised when I read in the Palo Alto Centennial History book that Joseph Eichler was not an architect. How is it that so many homes are named after him?
Well, we have 2,700 homes in Palo Alto that he built. He was a builder-developer who hired well-known architects to design his subdivisions, unlike other builders who would build on the cheap or build without style. He hired some of the best architects available to build houses in the style of Frank Lloyd Wright, which was an architect that he greatly admired. And we are sitting today in the Green Meadow Community Park, which is one of the subdivisions that he had built.
What was unique with Eichler's community vision? Why was it unique for that time?
Again, we're talking about in the 50s and 60s, and at that time, most of the builders, developers, as well as the real estate agents had an unwritten policy of not selling their homes, not showing them to minorities, especially the Asians and blacks. Joseph Eichler did not share in this belief and went out of his way to make sure that any of his homes were available to qualified buyers of any race around.
And thus we have the mosaic that is Palo Alto today.
Yes.
What else should we know about Green Meadow?
Well, Green Meadow is one of his more successful subdivisions. There were a great deal of other ones in Palo Alto. This one, each individual lot is somewhat smaller than the standard of that day, and the extra land he saved from each individual lot he put together in this community center here that has a community room, a pool, and this lovely park.
That's wonderful. So if you want more information about Green Meadow or about the Palo Alto Historical Association, please call the number on the screen.
Hello, my name is Hillary Freeman, and I have the privilege of serving you on the Palo Alto City Council. Today I'd like to talk with you about the Palo Alto process, and I hope I can help set the record straight. Although the Palo Alto process has been criticized as slow and often as duplicative, the fact is that Palo Alto is a great community partially because of this process. Early on, city government learned to capitalize on the brilliance and public spirit of our electorate. The people took control of the water and power in the early 1900s and later banned nuclear power as an energy source. And also, people have created a community in which education ranks first among our values. It is clear from legislation and from common thought that the people do not and should not have to, quote, yield their sovereignty to the agencies which serve them. The people, in delegating authority, do not give the public servants their right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over the instruments they have created, unquote. The Palo Alto process of open government contains three major principles that ensure that this basic law that was quoted from the Brown Act are upheld. Those principles are: 1, inclusiveness; 2, open and transparent deliberations and actions of elected and appointed officials; and 3, a highly participatory citizenry where the quality of decisions depends upon the broad and responsible citizen involvement. No one ever promised us that democracy would be swift, but we in Palo Alto have promised ourselves to base our democracy on these principles. Please feel free to contact me to discuss this or anything else regarding the city of Palo Alto. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with Wendy Hediger from the Palo Alto Recycling Program. Wendy, fall is here, autumn is in the air. What does that mean for the Recycling Queen?
That means that it's time to start thinking about the holiday season. And each year the recycling program does encourage its residents to give the gift of an experience as opposed to giving more stuff. So that would mean maybe tickets to the theater or a sporting event, even a concert, maybe a weekend getaway, a massage, a pedicure, you name it. The possibilities are endless. The idea is not to give as much stuff.
Well, I agree with that, and those pedicures and massages sound great. Well, but if there are some people I really can't do that sort of thing. So what's an alternative of a recycled gift?
Well, What we would ask is that maybe consider buying a recycled content gift as opposed to an experience. So, like my jacket that I'm wearing now, this was made from recycled plastic bottles, the #1 PET bottles. So that's one idea, but there's so many different ideas out there. There's so many different gifts. They're very innovative, creative, exciting ideas. I've seen wine racks made from bicycle rims and business card holders from circuit boards. So the possibilities abound, and there's even a gift out there for that person that has everything.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. And where would I start looking for some of these recycled content gifts?
Well, they're in stores locally. Some can be found, but there's a lot to be found on the internet. So I suggest that going online and doing a search by recycled content or recycled gifts would probably give you the best thing. Plus, there should be a web address on the screen for people to look up on, or call the recycling program. We'd be more than happy to help.
And tell me, what's your usual standard wonderful message to residents?
As always, I'd like to remind you to reduce, reuse, recycle, and buy recycled.
Hi, I'm Annie Joseph, and I'm with the City of Palo Alto, and I'm the Bug Buster Workshop Coordinator. And today we're going to talk about less toxic gardening in the winter garden. Did you know that 75% of the diseases and pests in your yard can be controlled by simple housekeeping practices? And today I'm going to show you some of those simple techniques that will reduce the amount of pesticides that you're putting onto your property and that's running into our creeks and bays, contaminating the food web. Now, firstly, I'd like to talk about roses. Roses have several diseases and pests, rust, black spot, powdery mildew. Those types of leaves should be gathered up and put in a bag and sent to your city recycling. We're not sure that these diseases on roses could be composted out in the home compost pile. All of the other plant material, though, go at it. Pile it in there to make the wonderful compost for the coming spring. Now, did you know that there are certain insects that like to overwinter on our plants? And what you need to do is to go out and to monitor the pest population in your garden and look for those scale and the aphids looking to overwinter. And we have minimum impact pesticides that you can use on those. The horticultural oils, one in particular is made with a food grade oil, the other is made with a petroleum base. These oils have low impact, they're not residual, great control for soft-bodied insects to prevent them from overwintering. And as I say, spot treat. Don't spray the whole plant, because just like when you have a cut and you put Neosporin on, you want to treat just the wound, not your whole body. So make sure that you're spot treating when you do have a problem, and that when you do see the diseases on the roses, that you bag them up and get them out of the garden. Now, another great thing to know is, did you know that you could be contaminating and spreading disease in your garden by having your shears go from one disease plant to the next? A great solution to that would be to take a simple household bleach, 1% bleach to 10% water, dipping your shears into the bleach in between the times that you make prunings on different types of plant material, greatly reducing the amount of diseases you're spreading in your garden. Simple home practices. I hope you enjoyed today, and we look forward to seeing you at our next Bug Buster workshop.
We're here at the Animal Services Shelter with Sandy Stadler, and we're going to be talking today about introducing your new pets to an old pet. Sandy, when someone adopts a pet from here, how do you suggest they bring this new pet into their family that already has a pet?
Well, it's quite different between dogs and cats. If we look at cats first, cats create their own hierarchy in home, and we do not require a potential owner to bring in a cat for them to make an introduction here, because it takes so long, and they must be patient, and the cats will decide on their own when the time is right. So the major thing we tell to people bringing home a cat is give them space, give them their own space, pay enough attention to the old cat that the new one's going to be curious and looking around and hasn't really established itself, but the old one is the one who's going to be out of joint, so to speak. So that, it's just time and patience. With dogs, it's a little different. We do require that people bring dogs down here, and we make the introduction here on neutral territory. We're looking for several things. We are looking, and many times it's more than one introduction. For a dog, they need to meet each other and make a decision whether or not, number one, they like each other. Even if we see that they don't particularly pay attention to each other, that's okay for a second meeting, because now they're not strangers, and what we'll often see is play. If we see aggression, if we see one of them is trying to dominate the other to the point where the other one is either so cowering or brought to the point where they have to turn around and defend themselves, then we'll deny the adoption. But even when you get home, things can change. What will look like the old animal is established and people will make a decision, oh, well, we wanted to get a friend for our dog, but it's dominant because it's been there. The dogs decide that, not the people. That's one of the biggest mistakes, is that people try to force that role, and the dogs are going to decide that. Our role is to counsel people. Oftentimes a female-female introduction with matures doesn't work. Sometimes it does. There's not absolutes here. We prefer a male-female. Obviously the animals have to be spayed and neutered. It throws the dynamics off if the animal is not altered. But again, the word is patience and training. And there are professionals out there to help you. You're not living in a vacuum. You do not need to know all these things yourself. There's help out there. And we send new adopters home with a list of behaviorists and trainers, and we do push for them to follow through with them.
So how can we get in touch with you to make an adoption or to come see the animals?
Well, the shelter is open Monday through Saturday, closed every other Friday and Sunday from 11 to 5:30. The adoption animals are available for people to view, and we accept all residents. It's not, just residents of Palo Alto and the jurisdictions that we serve. And the adoption process, we want it to be, it's a family process. We want everyone to come, and we want to make it fun.
Where can we call you for information?
You can call the shelter at area code 650-496-5971.
Thanks a lot, Sandy. And now we're going to go to the animal shelter to see all these animals up for adoption.
Natasha is an 11-year-old spayed female Persian. Natasha is a true sweetheart, yet she is very scared here at the shelter and needs a quiet, understanding new home. Katie is a 2-year-old spayed female cat. Katie is playful and a beautiful lap cat. Tyler is a 1-year-old German Shepherd mixed neutered male. He is a fun, happy, outgoing family dog who is ready for a fresh start in life. Brownie is a 10-month-old Australian cattle dog mixed with a Shar-Pei. Brownie is very gentle and affectionate. These two cuties are in need of a home along with their parents who look just like them. These bunnies are becoming more and more comfortable being held and cuddled since we have been working with them a great deal. Honey is a very sweet domestic rat. She is in need of a home that will give her lots of love and attention. Honey is very comfortable being held and enjoys people of all ages. You can see these animals and many more at the Palo Alto Animal Shelter, 3281 East Bayshore Road in Palo Alto. We're open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Give us a call at 650-496-5971.
Thanks for watching City Beat Inside Palo Alto. I'm Cherie McFadden.
And I'm P.A. Moore. If you have any questions or comments, send them to the email address listed at the end of the credits. We'd be happy to hear from you. See you next time.